So what exactly is MapPass? Well, what you're looking at here is a blueprint for something they call people-powered growth. Sounds interesting, right? It's all about simplicity and a clear path forward. But what does that actually mean? Is this some revolutionary new thing or just a lot of clever marketing? You know what? Let's break it down and find out together.
Okay, so right off the bat, here's the official definition. They say MapPass is a digital identity that lets you participate in an organized, people-powered system. Now, two things jump out at me there. First, it's a digital identity, not just an app. And second, that phrase again, people-powered. That's clearly the heart of this whole thing, so let's hang on to that idea.
So, when you get a MapPass, what are you actually getting? It really boils down to three simple things. First, a verified ID. Second, a place in their growth structure. And third, a clear way to earn. That's it. Pretty straightforward, right? Now let's dig into what each of those really means.
Okay, so that's the what. But, to really get what this is all about, we have to look at the why. What's the philosophy behind MapPass? What's the big idea? Let's get into it.
And this right here, this gets right to the heart of it. No hype, no speculation, just a clean and fast system. You can tell they are really, really trying to set themselves apart from all the other stuff out there, The kind of thing that feels complicated or promises you the moon. Their whole vibe seems to be built on just being simple and straight to the point.
Okay, so if the whole system is people-powered, that begs the question, right? How do people even get in? Well, this next part is all about the mechanics, what they call the engine of growth. And spoiler alert, it's not about some big company just selling you access. It's a little different.
It's actually a super simple two-step process. Step one, you need a key to get in, and that key has a fixed value. Easy enough. But step two, this is where it gets really interesting. Keys are distributed by people. See? Not the company. That's the engine. That's how they get that whole people-powered thing to work.
Now, check this out. They have this thing called the extra keys system. When someone gets 10 keys, the system just gives them 2 extra ones. But here's the catch. They're meant for friends, family, your community. The idea is that it builds a real human connection, local trust. It's a way to let the system grow faster, but without all that aggressive sales pressure. Kind of clever, right? It bakes that low-pressure vibe right into the rule. All right, so you've got your key, you're in the system. What now? What do you actually have? Let's talk about your place in all this, your identity, and the opportunity that comes with it.
So, you get what's called a MapPass ID. Think of it as your digital passport inside this system. But here's something cool. It's not just for people. A MapPass ID can represent a business, a school, even a whole community. That kind of hints that they're thinking much, much bigger than just individual accounts,
And then we see this number, 19,531. Kind of random, right? What is that? It's super specific, it's obviously limited, and it definitely feels like it points to something special. So what does it mean? Okay, here it is. That number, 19,531, is the total number of founder seats. These are special. They're limited, they can't be copied, and they sit at the very foundation of the whole system. The idea is simple. As the whole thing grows on top of them, they get to benefit from that growth. It's their way of rewarding the people who got in early and helped build the whole thing from scratch.
And this quote kind of says it all, doesn't it? You don't need to understand everything to know this. Being early matters. It's like they're saying, look, we know this is new, but you get the basic idea. In almost any new venture, being one of the first people in the door, well, that counts for something.
Okay, so we've talked about your identity and your position. Let's get to that third piece of the puzzle, the earning path. And they make a big deal about this being clear and honest. And when they say clear, they mean it. How do you earn? There's only one way. That's it. Just one. You help other people activate their MapPass ID. End of story. No confusing charts, no complicated bonuses, just one simple action. They're clearly going for trust and making sure nobody gets confused.
I actually love this slide because it draws a really clear line in the sand. On one side, you have what they call a human approach, helping people going at your own pace. On the other side is what this isn't, recruiting strangers, high-pressure sales tactics, promising crazy returns. They're making it super clear that this is about relationships, not just chasing numbers as fast as you can.
And again, they just keep doubling down on this no hype thing. No promises, no guarantees, just participation and completion. It's pretty blunt, really. They're basically putting it all on you. The message is crystal clear. What you get out of this depends entirely on what you put into it, period.
So let's take a step back. We've looked at the philosophy, how it works, what your idea is, and how you earn. Now, let's tie it all together. What's the big idea here? What's the core vision that's driving this whole thing?
And here it is, the whole thing in a nutshell. MapPass turns access into organization and organization into opportunity. It's a pretty elegant way to put it. The key gives you access. That access puts you into an organized system. And that organization, well, that's what creates the opportunity. It's a simple A to B to C.
So this is kind of their final pitch to you. They're not saying this is for everyone. They're saying, hey, if you're the kind of person who values being early, who likes being organized, and who wants to be connected, then MapPass is one of the simplest $24 decisions you'll ever make. They're framing it as a really low-risk way to get your spot in this new community.
Which, when you think about it, makes this whole thing a really fascinating experiment. And it leaves us with this one big question to think about. What happens when growth is built on real connection instead of just a bunch of hype?